When Thomas Greene was 6 years old, he told his mother something that would haunt her for years. He said, "Mom, I used to be a butterfly." At first, she laughed. Kids say strange things all the time. Imaginary friends, wild dreams, past lives. But Thomas was not just speaking nonsense. He described things no 6-year-old could know. The migration routes of monarch butterflies, how they navigate using the sun's position, and even how they rest in Mexico's forests during winter. His words were calm, precise, and oddly poetic. "Before I was me," he said one evening, "I lived in a field full of yellow flowers. I could feel the wind on my wings. Then a truck came and there was smoke. Everything turned black." Years later, scientists would interview Thomas, but back then in 1997, he was just a boy from rural Kansas who couldn't stop drawing butterflies. As Thomas grew older, his strange memories only deepened. He could identify species of butterflies by wing pattern alone. At age 10, he wrote a full report about the Danaus plexippus, the monarch butterfly, with scientific accuracy his teachers couldn't explain. His mother, now both proud and uneasy, began to keep a journal of everything he said. One entry read, "Thomas woke up crying again, said he could feel his wings burning. When I asked what that meant, he said, 'It's when humans spray the white clouds in the fields.'" When Thomas was 12, he insisted on visiting Mexico. His mother, though skeptical, agreed after winning a local travel contest that offered free flights to Mexico City. From there, they traveled to Michoacan, the heart of the monarch migration. The moment they arrived in the Oyamel fir forest, something remarkable happened. Thomas fell silent. He walked deeper and deeper among the trees where millions of butterflies hung like orange leaves. Then, without warning, he knelt down, pressing his hand into the soil. "It's here," he whispered. "This is where I died." Tour guides thought he was joking, but his mother saw the color drain from his face. He pointed to a patch of forest where thousands of butterflies lay dead, a place hit by pesticide drift years earlier. Records later confirmed that the area had suffered heavy losses during the 1980s due to illegal crop dusting. Thomas was born in 1991. By 16, Thomas had become something of a local legend. Newspapers called him the Butterfly Boy. Scientists came to test him, asking detailed questions about insect behavior. What stunned them most was not his knowledge, but his instinct. He could predict where monarch clusters would form, weeks before migration maps were confirmed. When asked how he knew, he said, "They follow the pull of the sun and something else, something that remembers." That phrase, "something that remembers," would later become the title of a best-selling documentary about him. During an interview at age 17, Thomas was asked if he truly believed he was once a butterfly. He smiled, almost sadly. "I don't think it's about me being one thing or another," he said. "I think it's about how everything remembers being alive. Maybe memories don't belong to bodies, but to the world itself." After high school, Thomas studied biology at Stanford. He focused on neural memory in insects, how small brains store migration paths. His research surprised his professors. He discovered that butterfly navigation was partially influenced by magnetic resonance and sunlight polarization, but also possibly by genetic memory, something passed down through generations. In one of his papers, he wrote, "If memory can exist in genes, then life may be a continuous cycle of remembering itself through different forms." His theory attracted both fascination and controversy. Some biologists accused him of mysticism disguised as science. Others believed he might be onto something profound. In 2015, Thomas led a study using micro-trackers on monarch butterflies to analyze their flight behavior. On the last day of the experiment, a storm destroyed much of the equipment. Yet, as the team packed up, Thomas found one butterfly clinging to a broken branch. He cupped it gently in his palm. Its wings were tattered, orange and black, fading like old paint. For a long moment, he stared at it in silence. Then he smiled. "Welcome back," he whispered. No one knows exactly what happened next. Weeks later, Thomas disappeared during a solo expedition to the Sierra Chincua Sanctuary in Mexico. His journal was found near a tree trunk, covered in faint orange dust, the kind left by the butterfly wings. The last entry read, "They're calling again. The sound is like wind through glass. If I don't come back, tell them we're never really gone. We just changed shape." Search teams found no trace of him, But each year, when the monarchs returned to that same forest, visitors reported seeing a single butterfly with an unusual marking, a faint, heart-shaped spot on its wing. Locals began calling it El Niño de las Mariposas, the boy of the butterflies. Whether Thomas Greene truly remembered a past life or simply tapped into the deep connections between nature and memory, no one could say. But his work changed how scientists thought about consciousness. Some began exploring epigenetic memory, the idea that trauma, instinct, and emotion could be inherited. His research papers are now taught at several U.S. universities under the study of trans-species memory and environmental psychology. And in every lecture, someone inevitably brings up the story of the boy who claimed to have once been a butterfly. Because in a world that often forgets, Thomas Greene reminded us of something simple, strange, and deeply human, that maybe, just maybe, the soul remembers more than we can understand.